Hello and welcome back to the Eyes of Ode Gaming channel. Thank you so much for being here. Today I have another older game in my What Is It and Is It Worth It game review series. In this video I will go through the various aspects of the game, trying my best to avoid spoilers for new players, and give examples of similar games as well as my personal opinion as to whether I would recommend the game with a thumbs up or thumbs down, and if I personally enjoyed it. I won't be giving a number rating to the game as many other channels do, as I find this to be a very arbitrary way of rating games, which like any other entertainment is completely subjective, and instead I prefer to give enough info for you to make a decision on your own if you would like to go forward with picking up this title for yourself. Cyberpunk tech noir style, intrigue, stealth, combat, and RPG elements set in a first-person perspective are pulled together in a story which will test your views on the concept of artificial biological augmentation and the role of megacorporations on society. Today we're looking at Deus Ex Human Revolution. This game was released all the way back in 2011, being developed by Eidos Montreal and published by Square Enix. This one is at least an entire decade old at the point you're watching this review, so together we're going to explore the concepts of this game to see what it's all about, if it's held up over all this time, and if it's worth picking up as a first-time player, so you can make your own decision whether or not to go with this title. So what is this game all about? Well, as I mentioned, it has a very cyberpunk or tech noir style, set in the what is in reality now the very near future of 2027. You will take on the role of Adam Jensen, who is currently employed as a security officer at Seraph Industries. The nature of the corporation you work for is research and development of artificial organs, which are referred to in-game as augmentations. Augmentations in-game take on a very controversial role, as they are able to help those with disabilities, but are also available to enhance others' abilities far beyond what is naturally possible. After an attack very early on in the game's tutorial sequence, you'll embark on a mission to uncover the truth of your attacker's motives, sifting through conspiracies and deciding for yourself where your morality lies, and how you will solve conflicts you come across. One of the very interesting features of this game's story is that the narrative presented and moral decisions associated have no traditional good and evil solutions. Instead, you must work out where your own beliefs are and react accordingly. Though some decisions will have impacts throughout the game, this will not have a major impact on the ending. There are different ending scenarios, however these will be presented at the time, though do keep in mind that not completing all optional objectives can limit which options are available when making your final choice. Mechanically, the game is very smooth considering the age. Honestly, I feel like the general handling is on par and in some instances superior to some modern titles. Combat and stealth will play a huge role throughout, and you must balance what you feel is best given the situation. Many sequences will have different ways of proceeding, whether that means sneaking through unnoticed, going guns blazing and destroying all your enemies, or finding hidden paths, or even unlocking options through speech or side missions. There is some weight put on whether or not to use lethal force, with the game seeming to attempt to push the player towards non-lethal confrontation and stealth tactics. Of course, the choices will ultimately be up to the player, and the ability to forego sneaking and charging guns blazing will almost always be a viable option providing the player's personal skill in this is adequate. There is also a heavy emphasis on speech mechanics. Persuasion, whether through traditional styles or else using augmented abilities, speech challenges will often be used to unlock unique solutions to missions or revealing more storyline to the player. Graphics have aged kind of as you would expect for a title of this age. Environments and NPCs do for the most part look typical of older gen games. The dark tech noir aesthetic, however, does go a long way to help cover up some of this. I found that with how smooth the game handled, navigating the dated environments was not a chore as it can sometimes be with titles of this era. The game takes place in essentially what feels like an eternal night. Everything will be dark, and oftentimes you may be heading into buildings or underground areas to keep you enclosed. NPC movement, though not as smooth as modern games, does appear to be rather good when compared to its contemporaries. A unique skill system for this game exists in the form of augments. Early on, your character will undergo an augmentation treatment, which will give you some base abilities. However, throughout the game, it will be up to the player to decide which areas to prioritize and which skill sets to expand. The choices really feel quite diverse and will enable you to create a more tailored experience based on your particular playstyle. Do you want to be able to jump from great heights safely, or maybe move extremely heavy objects? Maybe stealth is more your style, even dialogue upgrades. It's all possible through different upgrades which will become available through natural progression or purchase with in-game currency. Another interesting feature will pop up is the hacking sequences. There are a number of personal computers scattered all over the world which can be hacked for story insights or unrelated content in the form of emails. Aside from this, doors, safes, and other devices may require hacking, sometimes used as a way to create unique solutions to missions. Sound is mostly quite good. The dialogue, although typically written and acted fairly well, can sometimes sound a little tinny, as if you can tell it's recorded rather than feeling natural in the world. I didn't find this to be bothersome, rather this is one of the only real criticisms I can find with the audio in the game. Other than that, many audio effects are going to be very typical of the era, but fit within the game quite well.
The boss is already on board, arguing with the DPD's tactical response team. They've got the plant surrounded, but Mr. Seraph wants you to go in first. You all set here? Because the sooner we take off, the better it will be for everyone.
I'm ready.
Great. Then let's get airborne.
Comparable games would be others in the franchise, obviously. Also, we have some connection to the Dishonored franchise with the dystopian stealthy styles. Watch Dogs has some connection in the seedy political and conspiracy theory exploration, along with some hacking being done in Deus Ex. Aside from that, you can also put this one safely into a category with games like Prey or BioShock, with its first-person perspective, deep story, dark environments, and hidden agendas. So now that we've looked at some of the features of the game, we reach the point of my review where I give a more subjective look at my personal experience with it. Please keep in mind that the following is just my opinion of the game, and if the features and genre seem interesting to you, you should definitely check it out for yourself, as not all games are for all gamers. The game that you hate might be the next gamer's all-time favorite, which is one of the things that I love about gaming. There's always something for someone out there. Did I enjoy this game, and would I recommend it?
The word is yes, Carl.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Yes, definitely. I think this one was easy to tell given the review, though I do always try to stay as objective as possible. Other than some dated aspects, it is hard to find things to critique about this one. The story and way it is presented is very enjoyable. The overall gameplay is great. I tend to find that I break most games into two categories, those either prioritizing story or gameplay. This is one of those rare examples where you have both presented in equal measure. The main character is intentionally slightly devoid of personal style or flair, giving you the freedom to make your own choices about presented situations and build the story as you go. Gameplay is smooth and very enjoyable, offering choice in how you go about completing tasks. The style, though very subjective, I felt was compelling and held my interest throughout. The only regret with this game is that I did not play it sooner, though a title as solid as this one still has a lot of longevity to it. So I hope you enjoyed this look at Deus Ex Human Revolution. I had a lot of fun playing through this one and creating my review. Let me know what you thought of this game and if you played through it already. Do you agree with my assessment, or do you have critiques of your own? Have you decided to pick up or pass on this one based on my review? I'd be very interested to hear your own takes and why as well. If you found this video interesting or entertaining, please consider giving me a like on it, and also check out the channel for other gaming content. I do reviews like this one, let's play, strategy, and more, and would be very happy to have you join the community by subscribing to the channel. Otherwise, thank you so much for taking the time to watch today, And until next time, take care.